someone like Daniel Penny get to walk free? How do we allow people like Brian Thompson to build careers profiting off the suffering of others? But at the heart of it all, the systems are broken. Alright gamers, it's time to chat. Something has been weighing heavy on my mind lately. But today, I was completely unsettled to hear the conviction of Luigi Mangione. I just can't shake this lopsided judicial system that has manifested into what we see today. Two 26-year-old men, two tragedies, and it all happened in the same city, the Big Apple. But at the heart of it all is one glaring question. How does someone like Daniel Penny get to walk free while Luigi Mangione is indicted with murder and terrorism charges? Yeah, terrorism. I cannot condone murder, but let's expose the glaring double standard here. This isn't just about two men, you see. It is about how justice gets twisted when those with power use perception as their shield. Let's start with Penny. Here's what he said. He felt vulnerable and in danger while choking Jordan Neely to death. Now let's unpack that for what it really is. A legal loophole. Think about it. Penny, a former Marine, was the physically dominant one in the situation. He had Neely pinned fully in control. To claim vulnerability while literally holding someone in a chokehold is a calculated move to justify his actions. It's like a boss in a video game complaining about being low health while still one-shooting you. The math doesn't add up. And here's why the statement matters. Under the law, self-defense requires that you feel an immediate threat to your life or safety. But there's a catch. Once the immediate threat is neutralized, you can't keep escalating it. Penny's chokehold didn't stop at restraint. It went on for 15 minutes. That's not self-defense anymore. That's excessive force. His Good Samaritan conduct stopped the moment he decided to end Neely's life. Instead of waiting for the police to assess the situation, he decided to take it into his own hands. Here's where the law comes in. The justice system allows for self-defense, but it is crystal clear. You can use force to stop a threat, but the force has to match the level of the threat. Let's put it in gamer terms. If someone's throwing punches, you don't bring out a rocket launcher. It's like sending in your Warwick jungler to attack the enemy's Lulu support who's at 100 HP. That's not defense. That's overkill. Penny had the training to de-escalate. Marines are taught how to restrain without killing. Yet he chose to escalate the situation. He claimed Neely was dangerous, but Neely was unarmed and smaller than Penny, and already subdued in the chokehold. During the restraint, Penny had options. He didn't have to keep choking. He could have waited for the police. That's the line the law draws. And Penny crossed it. Let's pause here and dive into something crucial. Penny's Marine training. The Marines are taught through a process called combat conditioning. It's a mix of mental toughness, physical endurance, and tactical decision making. These skills are meant to help Marines in high-stress environments, allowing to neutralize threats efficiently without excessive force. I'm going to remember that. I like that term. It's very useful for social media landscapes. Anyway, let's get back on topic. Specifically, Penny would have been trained in hand-to-hand combat techniques designed to subdue opponents without causing unnecessary harm. Chokeholds are part of this training, but they are taught as a last resort and always with an emphasis of control, not escalation. A Marine is drilled to evaluate threats in real time and adjust their response proportionally. That's not just good practice, it is legal and ethical expectation, especially in civilian world. So when Penny says he felt vulnerable, we have to question, was he really overwhelmed, or did he misuse the training to escalate beyond what the situation demanded? His actions seem less like a measured response and more like an overreach, one that ended in an unnecessary. And then there's another part that goes along with this warrior ethos. Killology, coined by Lieutenant Colonel Dave Grossman in his work on combat psychology, It apparently is a systematic training method that militaries use to condition soldiers to kill in combat while minimizing hesitation or moral conflict. There's also the overcoming of psychological barriers to killing, such as dehumanizing the enemy. See, when you view the enemy as less than human, it frames them as a threat or obstacles rather than individuals, which makes me think twice when I hear or see people dehumanizing other people. While we're on the topic of dehumanization, let's shift the focus on Brian Thompson, the other side of the Luigi Mangione case. The now deceased, I'm sorry, that's super not polite of me. Hold on. The former CEO of United Healthcare. This man was motivated not to help people, but to systematically deny them access to life-saving care. And here's why this is crucial to understand. Thompson spearheaded the implementation of an AI system specifically designed to identify and deny insurance claims. That decision makes him directly accountable every single time a grandmother was unable to access life-saving medication, or when a child born with Addison's disease was denied critical treatment. These are not abstract consequences. They are real lives impacted, real people left to suffer because of a calculated choice to prioritize profits over care. And the harm doesn't stop there. This is just a policy failure. This is a calculated, systematic harm, all to maximize profits. When we talk about accountability, why do people like Brian Thompson get to walk through life without ever answering for the real harm they've caused? The thousands, maybe millions of lives negatively impacted by their choices. Why is that justice? Brian Thompson essentially dehumanized patients to humanize profit margins. Are you picking up a pattern here? Because I am. And yet here we are at pivotal crossroads. Luigi Mangione is being made an example of, showing what happens when someone dares stand against an oppressive boss, leader, or authority figure. Meanwhile, Daniel Penny has also become an example, but of a much different sort. The message is as loud as it is unsettling. Violence is deemed acceptable as long as it targets the weaker, the poor, and the helpless. And let me be clear that my opinion of the whole matter is if Luigi Mangione must go to prison, and so should Daniel Penny. You know who preys on the weaker, the poorer, and the helpless? Those driven by cowardice, cloaked in false bravado, and fueled by their own insecurity. Bullies. Bullies do this. Here's the lesson. Evil doesn't always wear a villain's mask. Sometimes it mimics the serpent in Eden, twisting truth, exploiting weaknesses, and masking harm with legality and eloquent narratives. It hides in legal loopholes, polished PR stunts, or AI algorithms programmed to deny life-saving claims. Just like Satan, it works subtly, preying on what you don't question. The truth is, the law is a tool. It can uphold justice, but it can also be manipulated. Like guns can be used to protect, they can also be used to murder. Penny's statement about feeling vulnerable wasn't just an excuse, it was a tactic, a calculated way to use the law's own words to justify something unjustifiable. In Brian Thompson's AI system, it used the same kind of calculation to justify denying care. The systems are broken, and it's up to us, to you watching right now, to see through that and to question and to demand better. So here's where we leave off. What does justice really mean? If Luigi goes to prison for allegedly ending the life of a man who was responsible for ending health care to people in need, how can Penny not face the same accountability for allegedly choking a clearly insane homeless man? How do we allow people like Brian Thompson to build careers profiting off the suffering of others? Ask yourself these questions. Talk about it. Share this video because justice shouldn't depend on who tells the story better. It should depend on the truth. Hit that like button, subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at starproxy.zip. Stay safe, proxy out.
My name is... I think you heard a shot!